Yeah, so that's very good. Yeah, didn't do anything with garbage either. I just walked out. I don't know if this is an order, I'm not sure exactly what this is referring to, or I think this one at the bottom, oh my god, that's absolutely big, ridiculous, they would freak out. That, do you remember when I told you, like, I was always kind of like incorporated kids and stuff, I mean, even if it wasn't like directly like me and him, but just, like, I was always thinking of cute stuff when I'd see stuff, and I was like, oh my god, little girls would like that, I would show him, and I found this box of Lucky Charms that was unicorn Lucky Charms,
Okay.
and I thought they were really cute, and I texted it to him, and I was like, do your little girls know about these, because they're awesome, and I was like, little stuff like that, and I don't think that that's the 13th, because I don't think I talked to him that day, what day was the 13th? I can't remember.
Monday.
Was it Monday?
I gotta work. Yeah.
Wait, Bella. Bella, let her. Bella. Let Cece go, please. Cece, squat run. Squat run. Squat run. No, not squat. Look, Cece. Look at mommy. Cece. Cece.
I'm wondering if that's where that came from.
So Charlotte is your friend, she's your closest friend. You have to have this conversation, but it never went anywhere besides her. You never mentioned it to Chris. You never said anything about your kids, or his kids, pardon me, damaging your guys' relationship.
No.
Or
On August 12th, according to phone records, Miss Kessinger tells her friend Charlotte about Watts for the first and only time. The next day, on August 13th, Chris Watts' family disappears, never to be seen again.
Never, and I mean, even if not, it wasn't like, I never said his kids were problems, just like he already has a life, I don't know about
Right.
that.
So in light of what's occurred though, what I'm trying to make sure is that there was never a conversation that you guys had that he might have thought that you were saying, I can't be with you if you have kids.
I wouldn't be with him if I couldn't.
Okay. So I'm just making 100% sure that those.
I promise you,
Okay.
like, well, I really want you to pull these texts because all the stuff I've been telling you will like,
Okay.
think up.
And I hope we can. I haven't been very lucky with your partnership.
Yeah, this was because she put it in your head or asked you to, or
She never, I mean, this whole relationship contributed to it.
sure.
But she didn't want it.
I mean, was it ever like, I wish you didn't have kids, I want to have, kids of my own with you, like,
She never knew if she wanted to have kids, but she said that, at one point she said, I'd like to give you a son.
did she know that Shanann was pregnant with a boy?
No.
Did she know Shanann was pregnant?
No.
And why is that? You just didn't tell her?
I didn't know, because we had met.
But Shanann put that on Facebook.
That's
Like, how did she not see
I
that?
don't know. Maybe she didn't. She just was waiting for me to tell her, or she put it out of her head.
On July 14th, Shanann posted this picture to Facebook. Bought baby Watts, first outfit. July 14th is the same day Miss Kessinger and Watts went to the Mustang Museum and returned to his house, where Miss Kessinger saw a picture of Shanann and one of the girls. She reports that she then tried to convince him to stay with his wife, but he reports she went a little ballistic. It's that same day, Miss Kessinger told Watts she'd like to give him his first son.
They have some stuff. Yeah, I mean, they have. Is anyone suspecting it? No.
Anna Flagways, and Aaron on the side of caution. Love your name. Hi, Cecile. Thanks for being here, my love. Hi, Joan Bradley. How are you? Hi, Sugar's Mama. Good to see ya. And DC Primetime, how are you doing? Hi, Curious Rose, my girls, and Aussie Girl Jen. Oops, let me turn this down on my phone. I was just trying to message you guys. And hi, Mark Klein. How are you? Didn't pay the light bill. That's right. I did not pay the light bill. That's funny. I love it. Hi, Marley. How are you? Welcome. Oh, this chat is awesome. I love this chat. These guys are absolutely amazing. I'm so glad you're able to make it, Marley. Welcome. And Joan, did I say hello to you? Hello, Joan. How are you? I think I did, but you're worth saying hello to again. And Elena Cruz, how are you? No, it's not over. It's just beginning. I'm sorry about that. I just lost connection for a moment. And thank you, moderators, for telling everyone I'll be right back. Hi, Jody is cool. Jody is cool. How are you feeling? Are you feeling okay? Jody is cool. Apparently has the flu, so that's a bummer. But hi, Katie. How are you? Welcome. Nice to see you here. Hello, Leanne. Hi, Leanne. How are you doing? Welcome. Welcome to What's the Obsession Live chat and stream. And let me just go up a little more. Hi, Debbie. How are you? I hope you're still here. Debbie McLean, it's always great to see you. I'm so glad you've been back in chat. Debbie McLean always has great things to contribute. Hi, Donna. How are you? Oh, I hope that you're still here, Donna. Welcome. Nice to see you here. And VLR, hello. What's going on? What's going on is I lost connection. So hopefully you're still here. So, all right. So let's see. Let me get back down there. Yep, perfect. So, gosh, I hope everyone's having a really good week and a really good Friday night. So I guess it's the end of the week for most people. I've been watching that trial, and I never got to live stream that anaphylaxis. I had to, you guys, most people know I've been telling you guys that my mom had been getting chemo and radiation for cancer treatment, and she actually is all done with it now, which is a really awesome thing. But, you know, I heard that this is kind of a normal thing. She got some blood work and the results came back like a little bit scary, which, you know, I did some looking into on this topic on my own. Of course, I'm worried about my mama. And apparently when you're, you know, done with your treatments, it's a normal thing for your white blood cell count and other things to, you know, appear like kind of in a bad way on your lab results, because your body goes through so much. Any of you that have gone through this, I'm sure that you know. I never have myself, but, you know, from everyone that I've spoken to, that seems to be the case. But she just needed me. So I had to take some time and take care of my mom this week. So, yes. Hi, Jamie Smith. How are you? Jamie says, here I am. Your favorite pain in the butt. Yes, the lurking pain in the butt. Oh, the reason why I brought up having to spend some time with my mom was I was just reading Anaphylaxis's comment about the trial, and we're talking about the Johnny Depp versus Amber Heard defamation trial. And Anaphylaxis says, I'm sick of the trial, but it was fun watching Camille shred Amber Heard. Oh my gosh, and her attorney. Holy cow. And did Amber Heard's attorney she lost her footing completely. I actually have a video about it. Imagine that. I think it's one of the last videos that I did post about the trial, and whatever the subject is, it's going to be self-explanatory that, you know, basically Amber Heard's attorney, Elaine B, really just lost her McShizzle while she had her client on the stand. And I'm not a really big fan of Amber Heard, although I do wish her lots of good fortune and healing in the future. You know, everyone deserves a second chance, and hopefully whatever is going on right now will cause that woman to wake up and get the help that she needs. But like Amber Heard was clearly, you know, disgruntled with her attorneys. And I think she should have been. As I say in the video that I posted, I think that her counsel is really, you know, walking the line of that word that they don't ever want to hear in their career, ineffective. I don't know what you guys think, but I'm certainly of that mind. Objection, hearsay, says Sugar's mama. That's right. Whoops, I tagged the wrong one there. So, okay. So a couple things that I want to talk about. It has been our What's the Obsession first year birthday week. So I still have a couple more live streams that I want to do along the lines of celebrating our first birthday. They might trickle into next week because of the said time I had to take care of my mama, but that's okay. Because you know what? When it's your birthday, you get to celebrate for the whole month if you want. So, yeah. One of the things that I wanted to cover during this, first birthday celebration are, making right of some of the rumors and speculation and just sometimes, unfortunately, I think it's mean-spirited messages of misinformation that certain people and certain creators are putting out there into the Watts atmosphere. I never like to see that. I know that you guys don't like to see that either on this channel. And I know all of you guys here in chat are of the same thinking. We like to stay tight to the facts. And of course, when there are questions surrounding a case and there's issues of possible injustice or justice not have been fully served for victims, there's going to be a little bit of speculation. It's in my opinion that law enforcement left too many things to question in this case. And for that reason, there is speculation surrounding this case. Now, one of the things that I think some of the more, we'll say, mean-spirited creators have been putting out there is that, I'll hear people say, follow the money. If you follow the money, it's all about the money. And a lot of times it is. And, oh, hey, thank you so much, Molson Man. Thank you for the super chat. I really appreciate that. Oh, thank you. He says, happy birthday, anniversary, Kelly. We love your channel. And I love having you be a part of the channel, Molson Man. Thank you very much. I really appreciate that. I'm going to put that towards my new computer fund because as demonstrated earlier in this live stream, Mama needs a new computer. I keep saying that. And yeah, I do. I need a new computer. So I think I will be getting a new computer next week. So, but these creators are, erroneously saying, with that statement of follow the money, basically if you do follow the money, what you're going to find is that, people who received money, they are somehow at fault or have some liability or, something in what happened here. Now, for those of you who might not know what they're talking about, let me just demystify it for you, and then we're going to debunk the whole thing tonight, so don't you worry. What they're saying is because Shanann Rusick Watts' family received the $450,000 life insurance payout as a result of Chris Watts' life insurance policy that he held through his employer and in Darko. It's because they got the money, they're holding the money bags, that they somehow have a motive in this triple plus homicide. It's really important to me that people know that is not the case for a few reasons. Reason number one, because it's not how it is. It's not the facts. It's not the truth. It's not staying in line with the facts of this case. And if you're not staying in line with the facts of this case, I'm just going to throw you out the window. You might not you may as well not even exist. I don't want to hear what you're talking about. And I think it's bad for people in the, whole of the true crime community to have those people out there that are constantly interjecting mistruths, misinformation, and just straight up erroneous, self-serving facts, out there for everyone to consume. Also, after watching, Frank Rusick's little bit on the CBS 4 channel the other day, where he was talking about, some of the channels that he feels, and I'm right with him, I feel the same that he do, are, attacking his family through misinformation, through, basically slandering them, committing libel, and dragging their names through the mud. This man was just absolutely destroyed. And in my heart and in my mind, it just made me renew, my commitment to speaking the facts of this case to the best of my ability, not only for the sake of, my channel and its reputation and myself, and I hold my channel's reputation, I hold the bar very high, and I want this channel to have a good reputation. I want the people who are subscribed to this channel or members of the channel, view this channel, to receive only the facts I also want to do right by the victims' families. So I did a little, let's see, I put together something that explains the insurance money and how that all works out. I created this beforehand because I wanted to make sure that I got all of the information that was necessary in there for you. And then we're going to talk about if we're really following the money. And I think, it's okay to say, yeah, we can follow the money. Where should we really be looking? So let me just share this with you here. And let's take a watch. So yes, guys, it is all about the money. Follow the money and you will find the answers. First, I want to explain to you the life insurance policy that Chris Watts held. When Chris Watts started working at Anadarko, he did something that people often do when they take a job that offers a benefit package. He enrolled in a life insurance policy. This is not an uncommon practice, and I need to emphasize that fact. The life insurance policy assigned a dollar amount to the lives of each person in Chris Watts' family, and the deal is, of course, if that person passes away, so long as the circumstances surrounding the death are not disqualifying, the policy pays the beneficiary the amount that was assigned under the policy. Under normal circumstances, Chris Watts would be the beneficiary if Shanann, Bella, or Celeste passed away at a young age. And Shanann, his wife, would be the beneficiary if he were to have met an untimely demise. The company holding the policy is Zurich. Zurich is a global company that is respected in its industry. So the policy that's held by the company Zurich assigned a monetary value of $350,000 to Shanann's life and $75,000 to each Bella and Celeste's lives. So when Shanann, Bella, and Celeste all passed away, were all murdered, the policy payout totaled $450,000. So Chris Watts would normally be the beneficiary, but since he was arrested and ultimately pled and confessed and was charged for the murders of Shanann, Bella, and Celeste, he was not entitled to any of the money under what's called the Colorado Slayer Law, which says someone who commits a murder, that person cannot benefit monetarily whatsoever because of that murder, whether it's, a book deal or a movie rights deal or an insurance payout. Since Chris Watts could not claim the benefit of the payout, other interested parties related to the family or, parties who are part of the family made claims to the payout. So first, Frank Rusick made a claim. Frank Rusick, Shanann's father, he made a claim that was on behalf of the estate. Then Sandra Rusick and Frank Rusick each made a claim to the policy as individuals, meaning not on behalf of the state, just as, Frank Rusick and Sandra Rusick, parent of Shanann Watts. Now, insurance companies stay away from settling legal issues. They understand that, there's a policy, a payout is due, and they're willing to pay the policy to whoever the beneficiary should be. But they do not feel that it is their right or obligation or their responsibility to decide the legal issues when there are several claims to a policy. So what they do in that case is they file what's called an interpleader. So what is an interpleader? An interpleader is a tool that's available under the rules of civil procedure in all 50 states in the United States and also federally. Interpleader takes the issue of who will benefit from this policy to a judge, to a court, for them to decide, which really is the appropriate place. So to make things more complicated, Ronnie and Cindy Watts also made a claim to benefit from this policy. So Zurich files a motion with the court, the interpleader, listing each party who made a claim to the policy as defendant. We have, Frank Rusick on behalf of the estate saying, well, of course, the estate should be getting the proceeds of this life insurance policy. We have Sandra Rusick saying, well, I am the mother of Shanann Watts, who, was murdered, who is deceased in this case. So, the proceeds should go to me as her next of kin, since her husband, Chris Watts, cannot receive the monies from this policy under the Colorado Slayer law. And then we have the Watts family saying, well, hey, this was our son's policy. This is our son's policy through Anadarko, through the company at which he worked. He put in these years of hard work that allowed this policy to even exist. So we are making a claim to the policy. We believe we are the people who should be legally entitled to the payout of this policy. It can get pretty complicated, right? I wouldn't want to be the person having to make that decision. And I'm wondering, what do you guys think? If you didn't know what the ruling was of the court, do you think that Shanann's parents should be entitled to the payout from this policy? Or do you think that Chris Watts' family should be entitled to the payout from this policy? I'd love for you to leave a comment and let me know what you think. So this matter didn't go very far in the courts. The first filings go back to June of 2020, and the disbursement of the funds occurred in September of 2020. Now, the filings are a matter of public record, and the matter did settle. The funds, some $450,000, $350,000 for the life of Shanann Watts, $75,000 for each the life of Bella and Celeste Watts, were made payable to the attorneys of the Rusicks trust account for disbursement. In the motion for disbursement, the parties state that they have all settled. Now, I want to emphasize the fact that all of the things that happened, from Chris Watts enrolling in the life insurance policy to the various parties filing a claim to the proceeds of the insurance policy, to the filing of the interpleader, to the settling and the disbursement, this is all very normal stuff. I've heard a lot of different rumors that have been, swirling around about this life insurance policy and the payouts, including from several sources who say, because there was only one defendant, only one person who was accused and was legally held responsible for the murders of Shanann, Bella, and Celeste, that is why the payout went to the Rusicks. That has absolutely nothing to do with anything. The only issue that is at stake regarding, who was charged and who was held legally responsible for the murders of Shanann, Bella, and Celeste would be that Colorado Slayer law, saying that whoever that person or persons is or was, they are not entitled to making any money off of the egregious crime that they committed. So I hope that everybody has a better understanding now of how this circumstance played out, from Chris Watts initially signing up for a life insurance policy, to the interpleader, to the the claims for the benefits, and to the disbursement. Now, just to make sure that I was not thinking incorrectly about any of these matters, I interviewed two people in human resources department for two pretty large companies. And I also interviewed a financial advisor and an estate attorney who deals with these matters. Now, what I learned from the two human resources personnel that I interviewed was that their companies both offer life insurance policies as part of the benefits package. And when a person starts working at the company, they are going, in each of these cases, they are going to automatically, this new hire in the company is going to automatically get this life insurance policy. It's not even something that you have to say, yes, I want that, or no, I don't. It's an automatic part of the benefits package, because a benefits package in a company is something that attracts new employees or new hires, because this package, this benefit package that we offer you, is going to improve your quality of life and your family's quality of life. And, we care about you so much. This is what the companies are saying to their new employees, that, even if something, untimely and terrible happens to you, we still want to take care of your family. Now, when I talked to the financial advisor and the estate attorney about this matter, they both listened to the circumstances as they happened factually. I showed them the filings that are a matter of public record from the courts, and they thought that things played out completely ordinarily as it would in any other circumstance in any other state. And there's nothing suspicious, weird, or shady about how all of this went down. Now, it should be stated, as I realize I don't think I said so in the body of this video, that the payout did end up going to the Rusick family, the $450,000 payoff from Chris Watts' life insurance policy that covered the lives of Shanann, Bella, and Celeste Watts did go to the Rusick family. And as I said, that was as a matter of normal, not shady or unusual business. I hope we can put this matter to rest. Okay, so I actually did say that in the body of the video, but whoops, let's see. Oh, yeah, we went to plunder. We love plunder. Okay, whoops, okay. So, Mr. Shobar, you were asking who was insured. So it was Chris Watts' life insurance policy that he held through Anandarko. And it was a company called Zurich, who I, said is a very highly reputable global company that offers different kinds of insurances. So that life insurance policy covered his life, it covered Shanann's life, it covered Bella's life, and Celeste's life. I know for myself, in any job that I have been in a well, really any size company that offered a benefit package, life insurance, to my recollection, has always been a part of it. And as I mentioned, I did interview 2 HR directors and 1 financial advisor and 1 estates attorney, and asked them about, how everything went down in the Rusicks. And as I mentioned, also the Watts also made claims to the benefits of the policy. Shanann's policy, the monetary value that the company put on her life, which is a weird thing to say, but it's just, how it's done, was $350,000. And then the value they assigned to each Bella and Celeste was $75,000. So with all 3 of them, horrifically and tragically being deceased, the full policy value was $450,000. So it was Chris Watts' policy that he held for his family. So Mr. Shobar, then, where it gets a little complicated is typically Chris Watts himself would be the beneficiary of that policy. But since he was the person who pled guilty to and was convicted of murdering the people who were covered on the policy, the Colorado Slayer law says that, if a person commits a murder, that person shall not make a single dollar is a result of committing that murder, as far as book rights or a movie deal or the benefits of an insurance policy. Does that make sense? So I've heard, some other creators, some other channels saying a number of things having to do with this insurance policy that are just completely wrong. I've wanted to kind of go on record and put information out there that was correct and correct them, but I had to do my research first to make sure what I was saying was correct. And after thoroughly researching this matter, I feel very confident that the information I just gave you is 100% correct. Now, one of the common points of misinformation out there is that well, yes, follow the money. The people who got the money are the people who are behind it. So in that case, they're pointing fingers, obviously, at the Rusiks. And then they're saying, well, they're in cahoots with the prosecutor's office in Weld County, because if more than one person were found guilty of committing these murders, then the payout would not have gone to the Rusiks. But that has nothing to do with anything. It has nothing to do with anything. The only thing that Colorado Slayer law states that has any impact on where that payout went to is that if you're the murderer, you're not getting the money. It's pretty plain and simple. So what do you guys think about that? Do you think that the payout went to the right place? The $450 did go to the Rusiks, and it does state in all of the paperwork, for the claims and the disbursements and the interpleader, it simply states that the parties, the claimants, who are basically the Rusiks and the Watts, who then became the parties once the interpleader was filed and the Rusiks and the Watts were named as defendants, that those parties or claimants agreed upon the settlement. No further details about that agreement are made public, but that much is made public. Let's see. Mr. Shobar says, this is unusual. Typically, the employer provides a policy for the employee to pay a benefit to the family if the employee is killed or injured, double indemnity if the employee is killed at work. Well, I agree on the double indemnity for types of occupations where double indemnity is even applicable. But, it's been my experience. And again, when I interviewed those two HR directors, they were in agreement with this, that oftentimes, in my experience and in their companies, I'm talking about the two human resources directors, life insurance is offered for the entire family. So I actually went and looked back at my own life insurance policies for my current employer and my previous employer. And, my son was covered on both of those policies. So my son he was either a child or, now he's a young teenager. And, there's a policy on him. So my God forbid something horrific happened, there would be a payout, and the payout would basically cover, funeral expenses and, whatever else. Double indemnity clause. In this case, I'd really have to look into that, because when you're talking about double indemnity, it gets the waters get really murky. But it just didn't apply in this case, because it just didn't apply. So let's see. So let's see. He was deposed, to my recollection. I'm not sure you're talking about there. I'd love to pick up on that. Anaphylaxis says, just echoing what that whole 10-minute video was about, it was a normal insurance payout. It completely was. I may have broken it down almost in too much detail there. I think sometimes when you go into too much detail, it can almost raise more questions. But I wanted to put all the information out there that I had access to, just so it's really clear to people that there was nothing, guys, there was nothing suspect about the insurance payout that went to the Rusiks. It was like normal course of business, and people need to stop saying that, because every time somebody says that, what they're doing is they are implying that the Rusik family had motive, and in not too far a stretch from there is liability in the death of their own daughter and their own grandchildren, which, guys, is simply not the case. You guys know this. Mr. Shobar says, still believing this is unusual. Typically the employer, oh wait, I already read that comment. Okay, so I think there was another one for me though, Mr. Shobar, I'm sorry. Mr. Shobar says, it's difficult for me to see how the employer had an insuranceable interest in the wife and family. So when I was talking to the two HR directors that I spoke with, when I was trying to get, confirmation that I was reading this whole situation correctly, what they said is to offer an insurance policy to new employees or prospective employees that covers not only your own life, but the lives of your families is a way that prospective employers make their benefit policies, or I'm sorry, their benefit package one that's appealing to people. The whole idea is your benefit package is supposed to improve your quality of living, right? You know, you get a good health insurance. You get good health insurance coverage. So if you get sick or someone in your family gets sick, you can easily go to the doctor and get the care that you need without having to go broke. You know, so this is just something that employers in the past, one of the HR directors that I asked about it, they said it's been within the last 10 to 20 years that they feel largely across the board when they go to their, you know, human resources director conferences or whatever it may be. This is something that people are talking about. There's various insurance carriers that will be at the conferences they go to that are trying to, you know, turn them on to the packages that they can offer their employees. And according to these people who are HR professionals, it's all a very commonplace practice. So, and Mr. Schobar also asks, she was married before, and yes, she was married to a gentleman named Leonard King, who is now remarried. He is an attorney. He was becoming an attorney and was a young attorney, I believe, at the time they were married. So yes, Shanann was indeed married before. So hi, Jen Hansen, welcome. How are you? Let me just say hello to a couple people that have joined since I've been able to say hello to everybody. Gathering Place, hello, how are you? Oh, so Gathering Place says, so who made the decision about what each family received? So what happened was the company that held the policy, Zurich, which is a reputable global company, filed an interpleader for a court to decide who was going to get the money. This is a typical procedure. Insurance companies, they will hold the policy, they will provide the policy, but they don't like to have to decide these legal matters because that, you know, puts them in a place of liability for themselves. It exposes them to additional liabilities. What if they decide wrong? Then the various claimants could take them to court just about with every claim that they decide. And this is just going to turn into a big mess for the insurance companies. So in the court documents, which, you know, I could have put in that little video there, I'll provide those in some successive videos. The court documents are very straightforward, and it simply says that the claimants, who was Frank Rusick on behalf of the estate, Frank Rusick is an individual, Sandra Rusick is an individual, and then Rondi and Cindy Watts. Those claimants later became defendants and parties to the litigation. So these claimants and parties all agreed upon the disbursement, and that disbursement went 100% to the Rusick family to the tune of approximately $450,000. Litigants, thank you, DTC Primetime. You the best. You the best. Litigants, yes. So, John McSmith, how are you doing, my friend? Welcome. Nice to see you. And let's see, I just wanted to say hello to a couple other people. Hello, Green Eyes. How are you? I know I said so in chat, but hello from my voice as well. And Jen Hansen, welcome. Nice to see you. Let's see. Jen Hansen says, wouldn't have Chris Watts' claim money part gone to, they won the, I'm not sure. Wait, wouldn't, I don't know. It did go to the Rusick family, but you know, they did the Rusick family in addition to, separate from the $450,000 that they received in as a result of the life insurance policies. They also won a civil claim against Chris Watts to the tune of, I believe it was $6 million. Now that $6 million claim that they won against Chris Watts, they know they're not going to ever receive a single penny from it. So while the home, the residence, 2825 Saratoga Trail that the Watts family lived in, was in Chris Watts' name, that $6 million judgment was put as a lien against the property on behalf of the Rusicks. So in recent events, that lien was lifted by the Rusick family, and Mr. Frank Rusick Sr.'s name was put on the deed to the property along next to his daughter, Shanann Watts. So now Chris Watts' name is no longer connected to that property that was formerly their residence, 2825 Saratoga Trail, and the Rusick family now owns that home. Yes. So, all right, let me just go up and see if I missed anyone else. And if I missed you, I'm sorry. Please say hello. I feel like there was someone else I saw pop in here at least. Mark Klein, I already said hello to you, I think. But did that get to where you were wanting to go in explaining all of this, Mark Klein? You had some good, insightful comments in chat there. Hi, Sherry Claiborne. How are you? I think it was Sherry that I was looking for there. And Cecile again. And yeah, I don't know where Utter Nutter is. Strange that she's not here. We love our Utter Nutter. Let's see. Hello, Elizabeth. How are you? Welcome. Nice to see you here. Let's see. So, so a curious Rose says, I think the Watts family got up to but not exceeding $75,000, which would be the value that was assigned to either Bella or Celeste. So that's interesting. I would like to know a little more about that. If you have any more information about it, please do share, and I will definitely look into it. Right, exactly. Well, Gathering Place is confirming that someone was or wasn't correct in what they said, but let me read you what a Gathering Place said. It was life insurance through employment, not an Anadarko payoff. Correct. That's a very important point. It was not an Anadarko payoff. It was from an existing life insurance policy that Chris Watts signed onto and designated beneficiaries when he first started his employment in Anadarko. So I will, maybe in the next live stream, or maybe I'll make a video about it, I will put forth all of that information that I was able to obtain through public records. Yes. Thank you, Curious Rose. Thank you very much. So now, I don't think that people are entirely incorrect by saying that we should follow the money in this case. And people who had a motivation for some kind of monetary gain just might be the people who had some kind of motive in this horrific crime that was committed. So let's listen to something here. And it will not be the Rusicks. Leave them alone. Oh, look, who's our friend? Oh, interesting.
Second time we went there together.
So the front door.
Sorry, I got to go to the right spot. That was from our last live stream when we were talking about a new question I think that I've posed is, how did Nicole Kessinger know where to go when she showed up on Chris Watts' doorstep on the morning of July 4th after he left her bed and her home when Shanann had called like 10 times and he hadn't answered, and Shanann was pissed. And they'd only been dating a very short time, like a few days to a week, and they had barely known each other, and they lived over half an hour away from each other. So how did she know where to go in order to show up on his doorstep?
But, you know, we can't do this with her around. We can't do this with the kids around. He never said that. You never said that.
No.
So the way you guys were trying to make this work was just, you know, slowly trying to come together because of his current situation. And you, by your own account,
Mine. I mean,
you're just a independent person. It sounds like pretty much.
Yeah.
And but through text message or through conversation, he never said, "Hey, you know, this is going to be financially I'm not going to be financially able to do this, or this isn't a good thing. I got these kids. None of those conversations ever came up.
No, I mean, he told me like he had a budget restriction. So for his apartment, and I'm pretty sure this is in the text, and this will probably be in the last couple of weeks. He told me $1,100 to $1,400 when I was asking him, like, because I told him I'd help him do homework. I was like, you do some homework, I'll do some homework. We'll knock this out because if you guys are for real putting the house up, you got to figure it out. And so that was his budget. And I remember asking him, I was like, you sure you don't want to just get like a house? And he's like, I never thought about a house. I'm like, yeah, you can rent houses, man. Like, it's a thing. And he's just like, I don't know if I can afford that. I was like, okay. And I knew that those two had been through some financial trouble. I definitely found out a lot more about that situation in the newspaper recently.
Okay, so prior to the newspaper, how did you know he was in financial difficulty?
I was like, okay.
Oops. Sorry.
And I knew that those two had been through some financial trouble. I definitely found out a lot more about that situation in the newspaper recently.
Okay, so prior to the newspaper, how did you know he was in financial difficulty?
Because when I went to that house, everything in there is very, 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 very nice. It looks like it all comes with a very expensive price tag. And I didn't say anything to him about it, but I could kind of tell then where I was like just looking at everything like, how do you guys afford this? And then he has that car. I don't even know how much that car costs, but I bet it's
what car is
that
it?
Lexus. I'm sure that thing costs like 80 grand, but just like money. Like everything just looked like it costs a lot of money in that house.
You probably have a decent idea of how much money he makes.
Yeah, and it's not enough money to pay for all that. Not even close.
Did you have any idea of what Shanann did for a living or how much money she might have made?
I mean, I had an idea. I would consider her like a sales rep. I don't know how else to describe that. For the company that she worked for. And I don't know exactly how much she made. He said that she was really competitive and she liked to try to keep up with him. He's like, she gets close sometimes. So I don't know how much those two brought in. I mean, off the top of my head, if I could guess, probably somewhere around like $140K a year. I mean, I don't know. Because I don't know exactly how much he makes. And I don't know exactly how much she makes. But based just off of like what I know about the oil field, like, yeah, I would say that's probably an accurate estimate.
So even if they're making, let's just use the figure $100,000, they're living above their means or below their means?
Oh my God, like
way too much.
Way.
Did he ever discuss with you any of those issues?
I mean, a little. I mean, I didn't know about the bankruptcy or any of that till I read on the newspaper about that. But I think he was really frustrated with the situation. He told me, it's like, I feel like my paycheck goes in my bank account and I just watch it go like this. He's like, but it doesn't have to. He's like, she makes it like that. And I was just
was he resentful for that?
I don't know if he was resentful. I just think he was frustrated by the fact that they could be doing a lot better financially. And she, from the vibe that I got, had really bad spending habits.
So she was a spender. The car, hers or his?
I think it's hers.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure that that's hers.
Do you know what other car they might have?
Well, I mean, his APC pickup truck.
And that's
it, I think.
That's owned by Anadarko, though, right?
Yeah. But so I don't think they own any other vehicles as far as I know. I think it's just that thing.
And Anadarko doesn't allow him to drive that on his own personal time, right? So he's just got one vehicle.
Yep.
And it's a very expensive Lexus. And then they live in a pretty expensive house.
It's a huge house.
Yeah.
I was very taken back when I saw it. I was just like, whoa. How?
And then the fixtures inside caused you to pause.
Everything was just like.
And then you mentioned today you read something about bankruptcy.
Yep.
What did you read?
That those guys filed bankruptcy for a lot of money.
Who are those guys?
That couple.
Okay.
In 2015. Oh, Shanann and Chris.
Thanks.
Good job, NK. You did it. Good job.
Okay. And you said for a lot of money. Do you recall the amount?
No, because it was different in each of the newspapers, and I don't know which one to believe. Okay. So hundreds of thousands of dollars. So, yeah, I didn't know that.
Let's go just back to him and the financial. He tells you he has a concern enough to at least express something to you that he's frustrated with the way she spends, or he's upset with working so hard and never having any money, and she's kind of the responsibility.
she's the responsible party for spending most of the money.
I pretty much got that vibe. I mean, he just told me, he's like, we're house broke all the time. I was just like, that's unfortunate. And I asked him, I was like, do you have 401k? And he was like, yeah. And I mean, the reason I ask him this is because if I get into a relationship with somebody, I want to know like what kind of baggage that they have. I think that's important if I walk into a situation where I'm like, hey, I have good credit and I have all these things that I've been building and you don't have your stuff together. Like, what are we going to do with this? And it's important for your long-term.
You're smart.
thing. So I'm preparing. And so I just asked him, I was like, well, do you have 401k? And he's like, yeah, I do have that. And then I asked him, I was like, I didn't ask him like how much debt they had or anything, but I just said, is your lifestyle sustainable? And he was like, no. And I was like, how long do you think that's going to take? He's like, I don't know, but it's not sustainable.
Where did his girls go to school?
I don't know. He never actually told me.
So, so somebody hit the nail on the head there. I think, at some point, Kobach asked, was Chris resentful of this? And she says no. And I think, I don't know what the answer is on behalf of Chris, but it certainly seems like she was resentful of all of the money that Shanann Watts was spending. And, this woman, Nicole Kessinger, seemed to know a whole lot about Chris Watts' personal finance and about his family's finances. In the course of that little explanation that Nicole Kessinger gives about the Watts family finance, she says that Chris said, oh, well, she gets competitive and sometimes something like she always makes as much as I do. Well, since Nicole Kessinger knew the breakdown of all of the family's expenses and what they had and did not have as far as assets, I think that she would have set Chris straight really quick, letting him know that there's no way that Shanann makes as much as you do, since I know how much you make and I know that you have a 401k. If these are your expenses and you're house broke, this woman needs to be misleading you. And I think that in explaining all of this to Chris, because we know that she must have been able to do the math and have figured that out, given how nosy and involved in their finances she was, she probably started to instill a great deal of resentment in the heart and in the mind of Chris Watts about his wife, where it did not exist before. And this, my friends, is one of the many ways I believe, with good evidence to back up this belief, that Nicole Kessinger was psychologically manipulating Chris Watts towards getting rid of his family. Now let's take a look at Nicole Kessinger's 7-page letter that she submitted to law enforcement on, I believe it was September 4th, 2019. It was at the time when she learned that her handlers were changing, that it was no longer going to be it was no longer going to be Kevin Kobach, but now she was going to be under the mindful watch of Dave Baumhover. And I really wish it had been that way from the beginning. So since I know it can be a little hard to read these bullet points and whatnot, when I'm sharing this with you in this manner, I'm just going to read you a couple little bullet points or excerpts from this 7-page letter that Nicole Kessinger submitted to law enforcement that I personally refer to as the cover my ass letter. I think in this letter, she tried to account for any and everything that she could think of that could have gotten her into a little bit of hot water. So here she says on, number 7, Saturday, 8/11/2018, she notes, in person, Chris Watts told me he didn't have any extra money for a deposit on an apartment. I told him apartments nowadays were so expensive for rent that the damage deposits have been fairly cheap because otherwise people can't afford the move-in costs. She's really encouraging him to move into this apartment. She's looking for the apartments for him, even when it sounds like he stopped looking for apartments. Because, guys, I think he knew, even if he wanted to leave the family home and move into an apartment, they were dead broke. And he didn't have 2 pennies to rub together to create that down payment. He said that every time he got paid, he just watched his bank account dwindle down, which is basically nearly verbatim what she just said, which speaks to the scripted narrative NK puts forth to law enforcement time and time again. Next bullet. Said he wished he had a way to prevent his disposable income from being spent. So remember, this is the day this is the Saturday before the murders occur, 2 days before the murders occur, when they go to dinner on a date at the Lucky Dog restaurant cafe. And this is all they're talking about. This is what most of her notes are about for that day. Next bullet says, I told him that it is possible to divide paychecks into multiple bank accounts, but that if he considered doing that, he would need to make sure he was responsible and that his mortgage and kids had his standard monthly bills were covered first. Because, she's a very responsible young woman. Next bullet point, told him that if SW ever wanted child support, he would still be required by law to show proof of that income, even if it was in a second account. Next bullet point, I suggested that if he decided to do that, perhaps just contribute a small amount that wouldn't impact his current living situation, read that nobody would notice, but would give him a cushion for the first month's bills when he transitioned to an apartment that was his discretion. Sorry, this is hard to read. The way she notes things is very strange. So guys, let's just remember again, on this date, Saturday, August 11th, 2018, that was a day where in the morning she woke up to look for how to prepare for anal sex and double penetration. And then they went on their date to the, it's the Lucky Dog Cafe, right? Is it Lucky Dog? I have a Lost Dog Cafe here locally around here. I think it's the Lucky Dog Cafe. And so all of that happened in that day. And all she makes note about in her Cover My Ass letter that she submits after the fact for that date are details about his financial situation and forecasting. That to me is just so strange. So now we get to Monday, August 13th, 2018. So she says, now this is the day, guys, that his entire family disappeared from the face of the earth, never to be seen again. And that we learned that is the day that they were most likely murdered. So for her notes for that date, my friends, all she has to report to law enforcement is this: by text or phone. Suggested the bank account idea again after he told me that he thought Shanann Watts was gone for the night at a friend's house. Next bullet point. Asked him if any money was missing from their bank account. Chris Watts said no. Guys, you have to ask yourself, why are these the bullet points? Why is this the information that she's doubling down on and disclosing to law enforcement, so far after the fact, after all of her interviews that we have heard and or seen or read the transcripts of, as we recently realized? Why is she giving all this information to law enforcement after the fact? Tuesday, 8/14/2018. So now she has one bullet point, one piece of information to relay to law enforcement. And this is regarding the day after Chris Watts' family went missing, and that we later learned the day after his family was murdered. This bullet point says, Chris Watts told me he opened up a second bank account so he could start saving for an apartment. Well, her heart must have been settled at that point. Oh, so now I guess we're doubling back to Monday, August 13th. Whoops. Okay, so now there are more notes that aren't just of a financial nature. They're in a different section, but they're of information Chris Watts told her about his wife and kids. I wonder if that's interesting, why she has separated into different segments on this 7-page letter. Okay. Oh, okay. So that's where we get to. But anyway, my point is in sharing this with you that there was a whole lot of concern from this individual, from Chris Watts' mistress, about his financial matters, his financial standing, and what his wife was doing with her family finances. I think that there was a lot more discussion about the finances, about how Shanann impacted them, and a lot more negative commentary on Shanann's, habits with their finances than, she initially discloses or lets on to. I think this was a really big deal to her. And I think that she was putting a whole lot of pressure on Chris Watts to clean up this financial mess one way or another, if you know what I'm saying. So I'm going to turn to your comments in chat for a moment here. Then I'm actually going to have to end this live stream pretty soon. My son has a friend spending the night, and it's getting really late, and I still have to run up to the store to get them something to eat. But I didn't even really get through everything I wanted to get through in this live stream because of my little technical glitch earlier on. So I'm going to do a live stream again tomorrow evening. I'm going to schedule it for 8 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, and I'm going to try to stick to that 8 p.m. And I don't think there's any reason I won't be able to because I already have the material prepared. Oh my goodness. John McSmith, get your head out of the gutter. Let's see. Oh, divorce is a big deal. Why no classes in high school about this? That's actually a very good point. Mr. Showbar notes, child support pretty much wipes the man out. I certainly can from what I hear. Yeah, I see DTC Primetime telling Molson Man to email me, I think, for her information. So I'm going to put my email here in chat, and I will check it tonight again after I go to the store for my boy and his friend. It's so late. And also tomorrow, a couple times. So there it is. Oh, Debbie, this is a great question. You and your good thought thinking, Debbie. Debbie says, why didn't she offer him her place to live while he got on his feet? It's a great question, Debbie. I'm sure she did. Anaphylaxis says, Chris Watts would have been lucky to have a nice cardboard box to live in after child support. Yes, you're echoing the same sentiment as Mr. Showbar. Yes. So, okay, guys. So I'm actually going to wrap this up here. And, oh, that's awesome. That's wonderful. DTC Primetime is just talking about Molson Man being your study partner. That's great. So I'm going to schedule a live stream for tomorrow night, Saturday at 8 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. I'm going to be using another computer that's not going to just lose connectivity on us. And thank you guys for being here. Thank you, moderators. And thank you for all being so respectful in chat as always. Hi, Turquoise. How are you? I just saw you. Nice to see you. And I'm glad you're able to make the live stream. So again, tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. We will be wrapping up this live stream because I still have more to talk about on this issue and going into some new material. And thank you guys. And oh, let's see. Jen, yes. Jen, thank you. Yes, it was a lazy dog. Up near me, I have a small franchise of restaurants called the Lost Dog, and I mix them up all the time. Thank you for setting me straight there, girl. So, all right, guys. Okay, I'm going to go sign off. I'm getting looks from the kid. And Miss Turner, welcome, Miss Turner. Miss Turner said she probably did offer him her spot. CW is stubborn and barely lives in reality. Very good point. Hi, Wendy Swain. Hello and goodbye. All right, guys. Hope to see you all tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Everyone have a really great night.